In this video, let's discuss some important questions in biochemistry. These are going to be important questions from university exam point of view, and all these questions were taken from past year question papers. So we're going to discuss all the important questions, the past year questions from these chapters. So let's start with the section A. So let's start with this chemical basis of life, and from the chapter 3, amino acids. Classify amino acids and give suitable examples for each. Short notes: isoelectric pH, classify amino acids based on their structure, side chain metabolism, nutritional requirements. They can ask either of these things separately or combined as one or two topics together. What are the essential amino acids? Write about the decarboxylation of amino acids. Write about the anhydride test and its uses in amino acid reduction, and also name some important amino acid derivatives. Okay, moving on to the next chapter, which is proteins, structure and function. The long essay question is: describe the different structures of protein or different levels of structural organization of protein. I want to mention this thing again in this video, which I mentioned already in my previous video, that the question pattern are subject to change. They can change. Okay, we have to concentrate mainly on the topic. We need to extract the main topic out of the question. It can be changed in different forms, and if the question have different names, it can be asked with either of those names. So we should be aware of all the different names that a particular topic has. So all the questions that we are discussing right now can be asked in different forms too. So we should be ready to answer them as well. Moving on to the short notes. It is about the primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure of proteins separately. It was asked together in the 10 mark. So if we read the 10 mark for this chapter, then it is easy for us to write the 5 marks, because it is about the description of all the different structures of proteins, right? So even if they ask it separately, we can write it. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Then denaturation of protein was also asked. Moving on to the next chapter, which is very important, enzymes and general concepts. In this, there is a long essay which is describe the role of various factors influencing enzyme action and write about competitive enzyme action. Then I put a star mark here, and you can see the star mark in the further parts of the video too. This means that you cannot enter the exam hall without reading this question, because it is very significant that you know these before entering your exam. That's what the star mark actually means. So concentrate a little more on these topics, okay? The question is, what are the factors affecting the enzyme activity? The next question is, mention the role of various factors in enzyme catalyzed reaction and what are isoenzymes, and mention the clinical significance. Moving on to the short notes of the same chapter, explain isoenzymes with suitable example. Then the next question is about enzyme inhibition. This is also very important. The next one is allosteric enzyme. Classify the enzymes with examples of each. Name 5 clinically important serum enzymes and write their significance. Michaelis-Menten theory. Active site or active center of the enzyme, derivation of Michaelis constant, coenzymes or metalloenzymes. Moving on to the next chapter, which is chemistry of carbohydrates. Here we have only short notes, which are stereoisomers, mutarotation, glycosides, sucrose, polysaccharides and mucopolysaccharides. Moving on, we have chemistry of lipids. For the long essay, we should classify the lipids with examples of each, and the next question is to write about phospholipids. Next, in the same chapter, we have these short notes like rancidity, structure and function of lecithin, saponification and non-phosphorylated lipids. That's it for section A. Now let's move on to section B. Section B is nothing but the general metabolism, right? In chapter 9, there are so many long essays. This is very, very potential 10 mark chapter. Very important chapter from 10 mark aspect as well as from 5 mark. So you can expect one of these questions in exam for sure. The first question is, classify carbohydrates with example and mention the role of hormones in blood glucose regulation. The next question is, describe citric acid cycle. Add a note on energetics of the cycle. Then the next question is, write in detail about the process of glycolysis, also with their energetics and its applied aspects. Or they can also ask it like, give a schematic explanation of glycolysis. Write a note on energetics of aerobic glycolysis, or what are difference between aerobic and anaerobic glycolysis. and mention the various reactions involved in it along with ATP production. The next question is, what is gluconeogenesis? Again, this one is very important, gluconeogenesis. So from this, we have three different questions, right? Three main topics. One is the TCA cycle. Next one is this glycolysis. Next one is this gluconeogenesis. So these three are very important questions. Moving on to the short notes. First one is lactic acid cycle or Cori cycle. Next one is Rapoport-Lubring cycle. Regulation of glycolysis, key enzymes of glycolysis, substrate level phosphorylation, regulation of gluconeogenesis, key enzymes of gluconeogenesis. For the next chapter, we have other pathways of glucose. This is also very important. The first question is, write about glycogenolysis or degradation of glycogen. Write the reaction of oxidative phase of the hexose monophosphate shunt pathway. Short notes that can be asked are regulation of glycogen metabolism, glycogenolysis or glycogen synthesis, glycogen storage diseases, and significance of HMP shunt pathway. Very important question. Moving on to the next chapter, which is other carbohydrates, where they are asking us to write to describe the process by which galactose is converted into glucose and also indicate the metabolic errors associated with this pathway. The short notes, galactosemia is a very important one. You have to make sure that you know this. It can be asked in MCQ, it can be asked in short note or 10 mark as a part of a 10 mark or even in Viva. So you make sure you know galactosemia very well. Moving on to the next chapter, which is metabolism of fatty acids. What are the steps in beta oxidation of fatty acids? This is again a very important question. What are the causes of fatty liver, and write the energetics of beta oxidation. These two can be accompanied with the main topic, which is the beta oxidation of fatty acids. Write an essay on de novo synthesis of fatty acids. Next question is, describe the classification of lipids and write in detail about the phospholipids. The next question is, what is fatty liver, and explain the causes of fatty liver and indicate how lipotrophic factors can prevent fatty liver. Regarding the short notes, write about the ketogenesis, ketolysis or ketosis. These three are very important. The next chapter is cholesterol and lipoproteins. This is again a very important question. Enumerate the major steps of synthesis of cholesterol and name the rate limiting step of cholesterol synthesis. Okay. The short notes are classification of lipoproteins, and also these can be asked separately. Very low density lipoproteins, LDL and HDL. Anything can be asked separately, where we should write about the metabolism and function. Okay, moving on to the next chapter. Here we don't have long essays. So the short notes are prostaglandins and lipid storage diseases. In the next chapter, we have urea cycle as a long essay. Very, very important again. And regarding the short notes, write about transamination, transdeamination, digestion of proteins, and decarboxylation of amino acids. Next chapter is, in chapter 16, we don't have long essays again. Short notes are glycine, creatinine and creatine phosphate, serine, homocystinuria, and creatinuria. The next question is maple syrup urine disease. Moving on, we have phenylketonuria and alkaptonuria. These are short notes again. And the next chapter has oxidative phosphorylation and electron transport chain. And the next chapter is heme metabolism. Here the heme synthesis, like the flow chart, is really important. Okay, and the short notes under this topic are catabolism of bilirubin, Vandenberg test for bilirubin, Crigler-Najjar syndrome, and Dubin-Johnson syndrome. These are important short notes. And the next one is oxygen dissociation curve and hemoglobin chain variants. Moving on to the next section, which is clinical and applied biochemistry. Very important question again. Okay, what is the normal level of blood sugar and how it is regulated in blood, or what is the normal glucose level in blood, which is the same meaning. Okay, how do you maintain glucose homeostasis, what is the normal range of fasting blood sugar and how it is regulated. Moving on to the short notes of the chapter, which is write about type 1 diabetes mellitus, type 2 diabetes mellitus, or diabetic ketoacidosis. Then for the long essays, for the next chapter, write in detail about the liver function test used to diagnose various types of jaundice. And for the next chapter, we have plasma proteins. where we need to write about the plasma proteins and discuss their role in health and disease. And for the next chapter, we have only short notes here, where we need to write the renal regulation of pH, respiratory regulation of pH, metabolic acidosis and alkalosis, respiratory acidosis and alkalosis. Moving on to section D, every vitamin is very important, super important. Like, concentrate on these parts. They are asking about vitamin C, B complex vitamins, antioxidant vitamins, vitamin D, folic acid, fat soluble, this is soluble, okay, fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, again B complex vitamin, and deficiency manifestations of vitamin C. In the first question, they are asking us to write about the chemistry, the sources, the recommended daily allowance, which is the daily requirement, biochemical functions, and deficiency manifestation, and hypervitaminosis. So you have to study this way for all the vitamins because it is safe to be on that side. Okay, we are knowing about the chemistry, sources, daily requirement, biochemical functions, deficiency manifestations, and hypervitaminosis. Other than these, there are no other topics that they can ask from vitamins. So make sure you know all these subtopics for a vitamin. I won't ask all these in a single question. I just clubbed everything about vitamin C in this one question. Here also you can see with B complex vitamin, in the 8th question you can see along with B complex vitamins, they are asking us to describe the function and deficiency manifestation of vitamin C. This was one question in the past year. Moving on to section E, which is the final section. Here we only have short notes where we need to write about the structure and function of DNA, which is the Watson and Crick model. And the next question is various types of RNA with their functions. And the next one is genetic code and mutation, types of mutation along with your examples. And the final question is what are nucleotides and nucleosides, and write the examples. Okay. So these are the questions that you need to know before you go to the exam. Like, give extra concentration to all the questions with stars on them because they are very much repeated questions in the past year. I'm not asking you to study only these, just make sure you know at least all these questions before you enter the exam. That brings us to the end of the video. I hope you guys found it helpful. Do like this video and subscribe to Medinare for more. Thanks for watching.